Hey there neighbors, Kevin here at the etrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the etrailer Class 3 trailer hitch receiver here on our 2024 Chevy Trailblazer. If you own a Chevy Trailblazer, it is a great car, but it is a much smaller style crossover SUV where you just can't really carry everything you need to when you're going out on those long family trips. So that's going to limit you to just anything inside the trunk, purchasing a roof rack so that you can haul all your gear up top, or the better option of all three there is to get a trailer hitch receiver, so that way you can throw on a cargo carrier or tow a trailer behind you so that you can take everything you need with you. Now this trailer hitch receiver is going to have a 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube opening, which is going to give us the ability to haul most accessories that are out there on the market. Now there are some that are going to be designed for a 1¼ inch receiver, but there are reducer sleeves that you can easily pick up as well here at etrailer and just slot into place and then get your accessory in there. Now there's a couple of things that we want to check before we actually get our accessory, and that one of those is going to be our ground clearance. So what we'll do for that is we'll measure from the ground up to the inside edge of the top of our receiver tube opening, and that's putting us right at 12 inches. So that's right where we want to be as a minimum. What we look for is a minimum of 12 inches, so that way we know we don't need to get an adapter to help prevent our accessory or our ball mount, anything that we're going to have from bottoming out when we hit a steep incline or decline, and then we have that scrape. Not something that we want to have happen with our hard-earned accessories here. Now the other thing is going to be if you have a folding accessory. So what we'll do for that is we're going to measure from the inside, or the center of our hitch pin hole out to the furthest point on our fascia, which is right around, I'd say 5½, maybe 6 inches. So what you can do from there is look at your folding accessory, have it in that folded position, and then measure from the hitch pin hole on the shank to the closest part on that accessory when it's folded up. That way you know every time you close it up, you're not going to end up hitting the fascia or your lift gate. Now one important component you're going to need for your trailer hitch is a 5/8 hitch pin, which will not come with the hitch. Now typically it will come with whatever accessory you get, but I highly recommend finding out one that's going to be not only anti-rattle but also locking, so that way you know your ball mount or any other accessory you put in your trailer hitch isn't going to walk off on you when you're not around. Now if you're going to be towing a trailer, you also want to know if your safety chain loops are going to be an issue for your larger clevis style or your smaller S-hook style. Now with a Chevy Trailblazer, you're really not towing anything heavy, so you're most likely only going to see a S-hook style safety chain with your trailers that would be in that weight class. So looking at our safety chain loops, we've got plenty of space in there. We're not going to have any kind of bind up. Now with the larger clevis style, that also is fitting in there nice. I don't see any kind of bind up issues happening, and there's nothing around here that we could have kind of fight us. So if you do end up towing that trailer, you shouldn't have any issues getting everything in place, but you will want to remember that if you are towing a trailer, you should also have at minimum a set of 4-pole wiring, so that way you can transfer your light signals from the vehicle back to the trailer. So as far as installation goes with this trailer hitch, this one is a bit more than your normal trailer hitch install. You are removing the fascia. We also had some mud flaps on our model today, so it was a little bit more work to take those off as well because they were riveted in, so we did have to drill those out and then re-rivet them back in place. There's a lot of smaller screws, and the trim really didn't want to pop out easily, so this one just didn't really want to cooperate. So if you're not wanting to deal with the hassle, definitely feel free to use our dealer locator, and you can enter in your zip code to find a shop near you and get it professionally installed. If you are wanting to do this yourself, then stick around and I'll help walk you through the process. Starting off our install, we're going to be removing our wheel well trim piece right here on both sides because there's some screws hidden behind here that hold on our fascia. So what we'll do is get our hands in here and kind of just pry outwards, taking our time. There's a lot of push pins in these, and they don't always want to cooperate. Next, we're going to take a 7mm socket, and we're going to remove the screw here and here on both sides. Next, using a T20 Torx bit, we are going to pop out the screws on both sides down here at the corners of our lift gate. I'll set those aside as well. Now down below, there's going to be 4 push pins, 2 on either side. I've got these 2 popped down so that you could see them. You could use a flathead screwdriver or a trim panel tool just like this and fully pop them out. Once we get all 4 of these out, we're going to switch over to the wheel wells and get a couple of screws out as well. Now in the wheel well, we have 3 screws that need to be removed. There is one here, and one hidden down behind our mud flap here. Now our model has a mud flap on it, so we are going to remove that. Your model might not. So to get this off, we've got 3 screws that are going to require a 7mm socket, and then there is one rivet at the bottom. It's loose enough that once we get this down, we can get to that inner screw, but you aren't going to want to really pop that off. All right, once you get that out, like I said, you can kind of just pull it out of the way, and that final screw that's hidden right there. Now to get to that one, since this is a tight quarters, I'm going to be using a little bit driver that we have and a T15 Torx bit. All right, got that screw out. We'll get our other 2. Now we're going to take our flathead screwdriver. There's going to be some covers over the screws for the taillight. We can just pop those out. And those are also going to be a T15 Torx bit. And then once we get those out, we can then slide this out. Now this is going to have a bunch of push pins in it, so it might be a bit of a struggle for you. What we can do though is kind of get your hand on here, get your skin to kind of grip on that, and you can push in just slightly and then push out towards the back of the vehicle with one hand over on the other side. Seems to be kind of the easier way to get these to pop out sometimes. Just like that. And then once we have that out, I'm going to strap it up. I'm going to throw a cam strap around this and hook it up over our gas strut here to help hold that out of the way, because our next step is going to be actually pulling the whole fascia off to catch it up onto that. And then now that cam strap is going to help support our tail light while we pull this off. Now at this point, this is where you're definitely going to want to grab an extra set of hands so that you can have one person on one side, one person on the other. And we're going to pry out, starting in our wheel well here, and just kind of get each one of those clips free. You can see a couple of the clips up here. So that's kind of what we're looking for. If you kind of pry up on the blue side here versus those black little clips, that'll help pop those out a little bit easier. But like I said, you want a second set of hands just because this is awkward to handle, and because there's probably going to be some wiring that we're going to need to disconnect. I think so on the driver's side, but let's get in there and actually check. All right, we've got the legendary Joe over there, and he's going to help us pop out the passenger side while I get this driver's side. Now, this is the side where I was saying most likely is going to house some kind of wiring. So kind of hard to see, but there is a little clip right in there, and that's what's holding this up. So if you need to, you can try and stick a screwdriver in there, a little flathead one, trying to help get a little bit of a gap so you can pop that out. All right, so I just pressed in on that with my screwdriver on the blue painted side of it. Obviously, if your color is different, it's going to look different, but that allowed me to pop that out. Did you get your side, Joe? Mm-hmm. All right, so we can keep working our way along here. And down here, sitting on our crash beam, we do have wiring. So we'll want to pull back on that red tab. We'll depress the black tab. And we can pull our wiring out. We got another one over here as well. All right, so I was trying to just save our mud flaps because there are rivets in them, but unfortunately there was another hidden screw under our mud flaps, so I did have to drill those out. So we will have to re-rivet those mud flaps back on. Obviously, if yours doesn't have that, you can skip all that, but with us, we will have to unfortunately do that as well. Now with those 2 connectors disconnected, we can take our fascia away and set it someplace safe so it's not going to get all scratched up. All right, so what I'm doing right now is scraping off the sealant that they run around here because we need this to be nice and flush so that when we set up our bumper or our trailer hitch, we can then set our crash beam back on it and have it sandwich up nice and snug. So I'm just using a stiffer putty knife here. There's a variety of other tools out there that you could use as well to scrape this all off with. All right, so this took quite a bit of time. The sealant did not want to come off easy for me. I've gotten that side off, and I took the nuts off already. I'm going to take the nuts off on this side first and then cut back all that sealant. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys what we're using for that. So we've got a 15mm socket. I've got an extension on here so my impact can reach past our crash beam. Take our nuts off. There's going to be 2 up top and 1 below. Now with our crash beam, we are also going to want to pop off our little sensors here for just a sec while we get our hitch into place. Now we can put on our hitch, and then we're going to sandwich back on our crash beam. I'm going to throw a nut on each side to help hold this up in place. At this point, I'm re-snugging down those nuts and then also going to torque them to the manufacturer's specifications. During this time, you can also pop your wire connectors back in place on your crash beam. Now I'm just dry fitting this on right now. It's not fully clicked on, so I am having to hold it, but I've got my paint marker and I'm getting down below because the fascia down here is going to stick out just a little bit too much. This inner piece is going to rub against the bracket that comes down and our receiver tube's welded to. So I am going to mark that out so that we can cut it on each side. You could sit there and actually measure this all out too, but it's a lot easier just holding it up and figuring out exactly where you need to cut. All right, so this calls for 1 3/8. I think what we'll do is just run it right up to this line here. But I do want to use my ruler, get a nice straight line. And then we'll just cut that right off. All right, I like how that looks. So we can actually reinstall our fascia. We'll get these connectors both back on. There we go. And with that clicked into place, then we can fully pop our fascia back into place. All right, now that we have our fascia back on, the rest of this is just going to go back on in reverse order, and then that is going to do it for our installation. With our fascia completely reinstalled, that's going to do it for our look at and installation of the eTrailer trailer hitch receiver here on our 2024 Chevy Trailblazer. My name's Kevin, and if you still have some questions about what's going to be the right trailer hitch, or you are looking at getting trailer hitch and wiring and just need a little bit of help, please feel free to reach out to us via our Ask the Experts link, a comment on this video, or a phone call to our customer service department, and we'd be happy to help you out on your journey.